Well, hello to you fine and dandy and wonderful people across the information superhighway. My name is Sam and I welcome you to the newest edition of my weekly series where, as always, I'll be delving into all sorts of the focus on the new releases, trailers and news stories, and I promise you this one will be shorter than last week, I do hope. But let's not waste time on introductions, let's get to talking all things media we have for this week.
Just eat it.
For the first of the new releases is in the focus of one of the biggest film releases of the year in the focus realm of the biographical focus to it all, and in this case we've seen some musicians from the Kings of Rock, the Queens and the Rocket Men and Stardusts, the latter being a bit of a mess, and the Springsteens and the Dylans too. But now we have a focus to another king, but more on the king of pop and bringing the career of his legacy to some extent, as after a long wait we have finally had the release of the all new biopic known simply as Michael. In the film, of course, will follow the life and career of Michael Jackson, who's played by Jackson's cousin Jafar Jackson. He's followed the legacy of his career from the early days as a member of the Jackson 5 all the way to pop superstardom in the 1980s and beyond. The reception of this new biopic, however, has not been the most well received, with it sitting in a more mixed outcome, though while the performance of Jafar Jackson has been very much praised and some of the cinematography, the film has been seen as a very basic by the numbers music biopics. Many feel they needed to properly tackle the focus of the more serious content that they had to edit out and rework the final act, with some feeling there is no third act, and this feels more like an extended music video collage than a proper focus of a film, some even calling it boring. Now, I saw myself there on Saturday, and I feel the case some aspects of the critics are fair enough, but I feel some are a bit overblown in some regards, but I'll get to when I do my review and in due time. But it seems that some are more than happy with the film and focusing more on the music of the icon than the drama. If you want to check it out for yourself, you can watch this film out now in cinemas. Our only other film release for this week, we have had the sense of things that many have feel stuck in our lives, so we get trapped in an endless loop of the same old things, and that we hope for a way out. But in this project itself, that sense where the loop begins a concern, and things will need to have you follow the rule and hope you don't become trapped and turn back when something feels off. As we have the release of the Japanese creative video game adaptation known simply as Exit 8. Now, based on the 2023 indie video game, you will follow a series of strange events that will plague a young man known as the Lost One as he searches for an exit through an endlessly looping subway tunnel where nothing is what it seems. Now, reception on this adaptation has been very well received, with praise of its faithful take on the adaptation, the unsettling tone, performance, and the hidden subtle themes throughout the project. If you want to check it out for yourself, then you can also check this film also out now in cinemas. On the TV side of things for this week is the return to a series that many have felt the last season of the original series was quite divisive or an unbalanced mess. There's some still thinking that a proper final episode is still coming out. No matter how many dates you mention, it will be unlikely. But instead of being a story to follow that narrative, instead we're going back to the middle point of the show and bring some sense of lore in a story that really is never mentioned in the narrative until now, as we return to Hawkins for an all-new animated series of the popular sci-fi franchise with Stranger Things Tales from 85. Now, set between the events of seasons 2 and 3 of the show, the series will take place during the winter of 1985, and we'll see the kids and teens of Hawkins coming together to battle a new wave of threats and monsters and unravel a new paranormal conspiracy. Now, reception on this animated series seems to be mixed and mostly well received by critics, but a bit more panned by audiences, with praise in the animation, its tone and performances, though some feel that it does little to help with the massive plot holes of the later seasons. This was really a necessary project overall. I believe this actually stars a Telltale series game as well before that studio went under, but I'm sure it is harmless, and you want to return to Hawkins for another adventure, you can catch the full 10-episode series out now on Netflix. And the last new release of this week is returning to the world where things may seem massive, but we are in the focus of a tiny small child, or even in the big world around us, the creatures and monsters of the dark are a lot more menace and threat, and we're about to get a lot more closer to this world, as we return to a popular indie horror series with the release of Little Nightmares VR Altered Echoes. Now, set during the events of what I believe is the second game, you will take control of Dark 6, the shadowy figure of the original game's protagonist, as you travel across a vast and dangerous world, solve puzzles, and avoid giant foes, all in the place of recovering what was lost, your utter self. The reception on the new title has been very well received, with praise on the approach of the implementation of VR in the world of Little Nightmares, and of the challenges, puzzles, and new perspective, though some of the motion in VR may be a little disorienting for some to handle in large bursts. But if you're up for the challenge and ready to face the horrors up close, you can play it now on PSVR 2, Steam VR, and MetaQuest. And for all that regards, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week. On the first of the trailers for this week, and another week of extensive trailer releases is the first of the one that was shown last week's CinemaCon, as things will be getting a little bit more of a spellbinding adventure. As nearly about 3 decades since the original entry release and soon became a cult classic, the Sisters of Witchcraft will be back for another outing, as we have the release of the first trailer for the follow-up sequel to practical magic. The film will be about 25 years after the original and will focus again on the Owens family as they face a new crisis when a discovery regarding the family's history and the origins of their magic comes to light. But when Sally, daughter played by Joey King, begins to uncover hidden family secrets and develops her own dark abilities, the family is plunged into a multi-generational struggle to finally break the curse that has haunted their lineage for centuries. But the Owens women, which consists of Sally, Gillian, and their aunts, must once again unite, traveling from their home in Massachusetts to the UK to confront the source of their magic and save the next generation of the family. So I've not really looked into the original, but from what I've seen from despite its mixed reception, it's garnered a cult following in the light of the themes of love and sisterhood and all that. This seemed like it could be something that may appeal to the fans of the original film, here to see them back all these years. Now, like this trailer does not give much of the plot away really, and it's just some clips and snippets cut together to give an idea of their own powers, and while it's not engaged me yet, I'm sure it could have come around to it and it'd be a harmless watch, but I guess we'll find out when they cast our way into cinemas from the 11th of September. Our next trailer for this week is seeing us return to a world of horrors and unsettling events to occur that maybe seemed like everyone's could have been avoided if ones had not gone snooping in the cursed book of demons and unleashed all terror and torment found inside, as it will be time to see what effects the Necronomicon will have on some unsuspecting new victims, as we have to release the first teaser trailer for the upcoming new entry of this horror franchise with Evil Dead Burn. The new film will follow a woman who will be looked to seek comfort and in-laws as their remote home after losing their husband in a tragic car accident. However, after discovery of an ancient book, the family reunion will soon become a form of a hellish nightmare. So as we've seen, the franchise of horrors has been going on since the early 80s, and it's proven to be a case that this franchise has found the sense of appeal and tone across the likes of the many different decades and directors, and it seems like we'll be continuing that momentum here after the hit success of Rise a few years ago. Now, while nothing has been majorly shown except for some all-out horror and tension across the short teaser, the thing personally ends really weirdly and abruptly, I see there may be more of an alt to all this, and also going off the descriptions from the footage shown at CinemaCon, it may be another hit, but I guess we'll see what horrors away as the film will be released into cinemas from the 24th of July. Our next trailer is a title that has been quite the journey to get where it is now, from development, possible cancellation, to where it now has been saved. It seems convenient that the film is in focus a bit of a legal drama comedy with the focus some of the most famous cartoons of the last century, as the trial of the century is about to take place, as we finally received the trailer for the upcoming new film based on the Looney Tunes with Coyote vs. Acme. Now, after every product made by the Acme Corporation has backfired on Wile E. Coyote in the pursuit of the Roadrunner, down-and-out Billboard attorney Kevin Avery, played by Will Forte, represents Coyote in a lawsuit against Acme. A growing friendship between Wile E. and Kevin soon motivates their determination to win the court case as it pits them against Buddy Crane, played by John Cena, the intimidating boss of Kevin's former law firm who now represents Acme. So I've been hoping and praying that this title was going to be released for a long time. I've been covering this story since about 2023 when it was first reported to have been shelved, but I'm so glad the studio is given it a chance to survive. Well, Ketchup Entertainment saving it, God bless them, and see its release. From what I've seen from the trailer, it does have a lot of heart and appeal and seems like an entertaining outcome, and I appreciate them taking the piss out of the studio and corporation in their attempts to bury this film and use the tax write-off, that it worked more in their favor, and honestly, I'm happy and excited we'll get to see the light of day. Now I just hope they do the same for Scoob Holiday Haunted Batgirl. But I guess we will see the outcome of this trial, and I hope you all go support it when it releases into cinemas from the 28th of August. On the side of some superheroes or comic-based films this week, while we have seen a bit more of a lighter tone with some of their release projects, this one seems to be more in the focus of aiming towards the realm of horror of the body type. And it seems that for this specific actor, it was like he was molded to portray this performance, as we have finally received the first teaser for the upcoming DC horror film based on the Batman villain of Clayface. And the film will follow Matt Hagen, played by Tom Rhys Harris, an up-and-coming actor whose face is disfigured by a gangster. As a form of a last resort, Matt turns to a scientist, Dr. Caitlin Bates, played by Naomi Aki, who transforms his body into clay with some sense of unforeseen circumstances. Now, while we have a very brief teaser, that really gives a tone of what we can expect from this film, and honestly, this really sells it well, and I'm glad we are getting a form of a proper look into a more of the villains from the Rogues Gallery of Batman, and I am all still set and more body horror style than I'm sure it could be a little like a smash hit of the substance, but maybe also not too gory and graphic, so I can watch it all myself without suffering from my hemophobia. But either way, I'm excited to see this film be molded into something terrifying when the film is released in the cinemas from the 23rd of October. Now, we've had some trailers of the world of games in this week, and the focus with these first two is with the world of Nintendo, as we're returning to a series that has become a sort of a quiet approach for this new console, but will still soon be time for all the various forms of ink to go flying, as we're returning to the world of the Inklings for an an all-new adventure and a narrative in focus, as we have the release of a new trailer for the upcoming title of Splatoon Raiders. Now, the new game will center around a mysterious mechanic who goes adventuring with deep-cut research crew to mysterious Spirifhalte Islands and learn of the secrets and more along the way. Now, initially talked about the focus of this game as it was unveiled a week after the Switch 2 launch, and I said it could be going in a different direction. It seems like they did go that direction to focus on some more new single-player focused narrative. I'm sure we'll have some sense of a little bit of co-op in there somewhere, but it also looks a bit like an adventure title with some form of strategy or tower defense thing maybe. But so far from the designs, locations, and weapons, it could be more of an appeal to the series once again, and I'm sure we'll give it a proper look in due time. It's not too long away from release either, as it will be confirmed now to be dropping on the Switch 2 on the 23rd of July. And for our second of the game focus trailers from Nintendo, we have returned to a focus of the world of a simple little island full of adorable little colourful dinosaurs, as they have soon be heading on a massive grand adventure to help learn of the secrets that lie in a strange and sentient book full of wonders, waiting to be explored. As we received another new trailer for the upcoming new adventure title of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. In the game, we'll see you play as the iconic dinosaurs. He enters a living encyclopedia where he will search for and interact with the creatures of all the book's pages in order to solve puzzles, complete objectives, and traverse across mysterious levels. It does seem that the ongoing success of the recent Mario movie and box office and the appeal of this dinosaur that it felt like the right time to bring them back for an all-new adventure. It has me appeal for some exploration and learning of all the strange creatures, great and small, as well as the really appealing visual style that we see after blending of this title, which seems like a continued approach from every other Yoshi-led game in this from Nintendo. I feel this could be like a very cozy adventure to play, and I'm all for checking this out. The new game drops on Switch 2 on May 21st. And the last of our trailers for this week is bringing us a little bit of a focus of some Irish culture, from old legends, new faces, and the battle and connection through the power of music, as we have received the second and presumed final trailer for the upcoming new music-based film of Power Ballad. Then the film will follow Rick, played by Paul Rudd, a past his prime wedding singer who comes across fading boy band star Danny, played by Nick Jonas, during a gig where they will soon bond over music at a late night jam session. But when Danny turns one of Rick's songs to a hit that reignites his career, Rick sets out to reclaim the recognition he deserves, even if it means risking everything he cares about. It is always strange to see some projects to be filmed in your home country and spotting locations where you think, I have been there in that area recently and around the time when they were filming it. And I always enjoyed the projects this director has provided. A lot more respectful to the city than what that Blumhouse film that dropped it last year, tacking on tedious skyscrapers and CGI to buildings in the city. It basically makes no sense of common knowledge of, like, you know, physics. But it seems like it has an appeal, and from what I've seen from early reception at the Dublin International Film Festival and other locations, that it has some another sense of appeal from these filmmakers. I'm sure it'll be well worth a watch, and it's not too long away from release either, as the sound of this new music will be hitting cinemas from the 29th of May. And with all that regards now, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week.
You named your brig after a poxy bird.
So keeping the case, there will be one story focus this week. It's not going to be overlong like last week's CinemaCon stories, but rather more of the second story of last week in the usual hodgepodge, where we'll be discussing some new announcements, dates, adaptations, and other updates to rumored concepts and other projects that might have other presence known from last week. So let's delve into what was shown to us all in this regards. And we will start off this title focus. Initially, I had no idea if I was one to add this to my trailers or news stories, but I decided on the latter, as after being rumored and teased for, I want to say, a few years now, it was finally unveiled on Thursday this week that the long rumored remake of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, now dubbed Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, was finally unveiled to the public. Now, the little title was showed off two trailers, one being a bit of a sizzle reel, some of the amazingly updated visuals of the title with some cutscene stuff, all built from the ground up using the Anvil engine on the location, ships, naval battles, and main characters, including fan favorite character Edward Kenway, with the original voice actor of Matt Ryan back as the pirate captain assassin. They did have him show off a bit of the showcase with new visuals to return the classic story of being a pirate taking down the Templars and find a better life for yourself. The new combat still seems to be keeping the original style, with a bit of a flair from the more recent titles like AC Shadows, fixing some other missions like the very unappealing trailing missions having a massive fix, as well as the confirmation of some new content in the story. Now, it's not going to be include all the old original stuff, as there has been some slight changes with the confirmation of the multiplayer and the DLC packs or expansion of Freedom Cry will not be included in the game, nor what I believe is also the cutting of the present day content from the original, which that latter one I'm not sure if it will miss it or if it helped in some aspects, but maybe it's for the best. The most concern I had from this title was would it go in the direction of the recent fighting games or of the RPG elements that most fantasy series despise after a while, as well as the case of the naval combat taking elements from the Skull and Bones game that people hoped would be like this title, but it seems to maybe take some aspects to keep it like the original. And so far, so my opinions of this game, and I do hope if anything that for once Ubisoft, please don't fuck this up. And we also got a confirmation of other titles released with a set for July 9th release for PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC for this. I will know what I mentioned for Switch 2 port. As of yet, I will not hold off fully, and I'm sure it will come along a little while after. As with reports of another remake of the series, which apparently reported to be the first game in the series. And I do hope in the case that with this success, we see other projects getting a remake in some regards. But either way, I'm excited to return to what I see as the best Assassin's Creed game in my opinion, and ready to set sail again and hope for a proper remake done right. The next story I'll be keeping brief, as there's not much to really sugarcoat with this, but it was confirmed at the end of this week that the spin-off series of The Boys with Gen V has been confirmed to be cancelled after running for 2 seasons. And this was kind of expected to be a case, as given how we are halfway through the final season of the main series and then focusing now on the prequel of VOD Rising with how the narrative will end in the series, it was expected that they were going to either end it as is or continue the story in some other form after the original series ended. But given how the comics end and with some of the characters set to appear in an upcoming episode of the main series, it only made sense to do so. Now, I thought the first season was decent, and the second one I haven't yet gotten around to, but I'm sure it may be worth a watch or some of that, but I haven't heard the much great stuff about season 2. But I will check it out in due time, but I felt it made the most sense to conclude the show where it stands overall in that regards. Moving over to some release date changes or announcements, we have some news in relation to the return of a popular adventure series making a return after all these years, and making a bit of an earlier adventure too. As announced this week that the planned 4th Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz has been at a release date change, but not with a delay, but releasing earlier than expected now. It's set to drop on October 15th, 2027, moving up 7 months from initial May 18th, 2028 release. This does seem a bit of a sense of hope that we have the project in good working order and production at this rate, and could be well on the way to the release of this long-awaited follow-up. The one concern is if this is moved up to this early, that they have enough time to make the visuals and the design of the characters, if CGI is heavily used in this new form, the likes of the supernatural enemies, but I guess we can see soon enough, and I know that many will be all set for a new adventure with these 2 characters in the very near future, but I guess we can see by then. For the one other project and focus that we have in a release date announcement is coming to us in the realm of another video game adaptation that has been reported and kicking about for the last few weeks, but it seems they are ready to make a big success and journey in focus, as he announced earlier this week the official release date and cast for the upcoming film adaptation of Elden Ring, that had been written and directed by Alex Garland, who did Civil War and Warfare. And the project now has a confirmed release for March 3rd, 2028. It will be filmed for IMAX and will also hold the biggest budget for an A24 release film to date as of writing. And given his track record for the studio, it seems that it could have some proper success. Now, I also did mention that this film has also confirmed the cast, which includes Kit Connor, which you may know from Heartstopper, Kai Spaney, who also was in Civil War as well as Alien Romulus, Ben Winshaw, the voice of Paddington, Nick Offerman from Civil War and Last of Us, Tom Burke from Furiosa, Havana Rose Liu from Bottoms, Sonoya Mizaro from Civil War and Ex Machina, Emma Laird from Fackham Hall and 28 Years Later, Peter Serafinowicz from Shaun of the Dead and Guardians Volume 1, Jonathan Pryce from The Two Popes and Thursday Murder Club, Ruby Cruz from Bombs and the Willow TV series, John Hodgson from Catherine the Great and Napoleon, and Jefferson Hall from House of the Dragon, all making up quite a variety of characters that could be portraying some of the well-known characters that was shown across the fast tile that you will be interact with or come into conflict with, but overall, it does sound like an interesting concept with this director who seems to be a bit of a fan of this game title itself. Now, it'll be interesting to see the outcome going off some of the footage I've seen. There's been like a few set photos and footage leaked online, and it could be an interesting approach and it could be an appeal thing. We'll have to see. But I guess we'll find out by its release in March of 2028. Our second video game adaptation based news. This announcement is one that I'm unsure of how this project will work in terms of being based for the game series it's being focused on, but looks like things will be coming locked and ready, as it was announced this week that a new film adaptation based on the game series of Battlefield is in the works, with the film set to star and be produced by Oscar winner Michael B. Jordan and being directed by Mission Impossible director Chris McQuarrie. Now, the case that I have similar to how I feel with the Call of Duty film is that it seems to bring a question of what will distinguish this project from many other film projects based on conflict, warfare, and the military-industrial complex, given it's essentially just content that we see with all those other movies. Unless it's going to tackle the narratives in one of those games itself seems unclear right now, but I'm sure we can get an idea of it in the likes of a writer that may know what to do with it, and if they decide to get the studio of like DICE and EA that develops these titles involved, but I guess it's kind of early days. For the moment, we have no idea when this adaptation will be released, but if there's any new updates, I can provide that in a later episode as well. But speaking of another project in focus with starring recent Oscar winner, it looks like he will be putting on the blazer and shirt and heading down to the Sunshine State, as it was confirmed that the planned film based in the classic series on Miami Vice is also in development. The title set to be entitled Miami Vice 85 and will see Jordan starring alongside Austin Butler and be helmed by Top Gun Maverick and F1 director Joseph Kosinski, which, also a side note, I'm not fully confirmed this is reported to be true, but it seems the director may not be returning for that for a Top Gun movie, but I have no idea yet. So it does sound like it could have an appeal and could make it work in the modern aesthetic and would be the second remake after the 2006 film with Brad Pitt and Jamie Foxx. It does have an interesting pair working on this, and given the director's track record of previous films, I see this also having a bit of a successful outcome to it all as well. But I guess we will see as production begins on the project. Now, I'm not fully sure when this planned release date for this is yet, but if I hear anything about this, I'll provide that as well in a later episode. On the last, the project with some updates to aspects, it seems the sense of family gathering and the mastermind behind the bloodshed may have found the next gathering, as it was announced that Curry Barker has been announced to direct the newest iteration of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's been produced by Glenn Powell and distributed by A24. Now, it does seem likely they're going to see his efforts and talent, which is seen briefly from the upcoming release of his new horror movie Obsession, which, going off of the reception, seems to be a proper solid horror from this year, so I'm sure we can see what it will make of a long-running horror IP. I'm sure we get an idea of what will be joining the film and when we can expect it soon enough, but in case there's any new updates and all, I'll provide that in a later episode as well. This last of the stories in focus is with the return and focus of one of my favorite studios, as there's been an announcement of a new project from the world of Pixar. Now, over the next few months and few years, then we'll have a selection of some projects that are returning to some series, in the likes of Toy Story, Coco, Incredibles, and Monsters Inc., just to name a few. But it seems the case that another series has had more than one entry will be making some form of return in the future, and looks like we'll be heading somewhere beyond the sea once again, as it seems it's been confirmed that an all-new short film based on the world of Finding Nemo is in the works. And that so far it's confirmed that former daytime talk show host Ellen DeGeneres will be returning as the forgetful blue tang fish of Dory. Now, this is one that I was surprised to see confirmed to be returning back in the series, as initially I heard reports, and I believe I reported on this aspect a while ago, that they were planning another Finding Nemo film around the time reports of a third Incredibles movie was on the way as well, but things died down a little on that project, and I also didn't expect much of a return of Ellen from the role, given it has been over a decade since she last portrayed it in the 2016 film, and the case is since the film there was a lot of drama and her ordeal of the be kind motto, but I guess maybe there was some sense of redeeming, but it's hard to say on the likes of that side of things. The likes of return to this franchise seems like an interesting thing, and I have to wonder if this will be set up for a possible third movie or be some sort of shorter story they couldn't really work into a full-length movie, but I'm sure we'll see in due time with the focus of this project, which I feel could drop in the next few weeks or go the idea of around D23, but I guess we'll see by then, and if I hear any updates, I'll find a later episode. But what do you make of these stories? Will you be playing the new Assassin's Creed remake? Did you see the Gen V having a third season, or does it make sense to end with season 2? Are you excited for the new Mummy movie? Will you be checking out this Elden Ring film? Do you think Michael B. Jordan-led Battlefield adaptation makes sense and how they worked out? What are your thoughts on a new Miami Vice film with these leads and director? Do you think this director will do justice to Texas Chainsaw? And what do you think this Finding Nemo short is all about? And will it evolve into a third movie? Let me know what you think of all this down below. With all that regards, that's all the news that we do have for this week.
Your mom.
And in any case, with all that regards, that ends the episode 153 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and hope you enjoy my ramblings for another week, hopefully a bit shorter. Okay, so I'm going to give a quick few flying through updates of some regards. So, reviews stuff, I am going to try and get back to doing reviews things. The last week has just been mental trying to get that previous episode on the cinema console. There was a shit ton. It's the reason why that video was an hour long, because there's a lot to talk about, and I rambled a lot. As regards to things, just busy with all balancing all different things that, it took a while of things. But I will get back to some review writing and stuff like that from like actual proper review stuff. I'm gonna set up balance and time to get this done and get the rest of it written up and then start recording some reviews and shit. But you're gonna get some long form stuff, short form stuff. Last of Us has been, Smiling Friends. We get some Snacks box office ones as well and get different genres and styles. So look forward to those ones. Case sent some gameplay stuff as well. I will probably be doing a lot more streaming in the regards of things. I am gonna do a bit more Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. So if you want to join me, I have a link to my Discord, and I will probably have a link to my Twitch as well, where you can go up there and follow me, and I will go live at random points in time. I don't have a clear schedule yet, but I'm just gonna, it's winging it. Fuck it, we're gonna go with it. But I'll probably do some more gameplay stuff as well down the line of like, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Wonder, Cyberpunk, Star Wars, and start some other games as well down the line here and there. We'll get to the case of things and this sort of stuff. And then the case of some long form stuff, I'm gonna get to the anticipated media. I'm gonna get to the audience choice video that I promised someone. I'll get to the rewatch-a-thon. I'll get to the next anticipated media. I'll get to Horror Most Bore. I'll get to the time Finance videos. And is a case as well, you may notice my shirt. I was at the Ninja Sex Party European tour, the Pure Elegance tour. It was here last night or 2 nights ago. I might do a sort of a long form video, some of the bits of photos and images I had from the event. Mainly the opening acts and a little bit of the main event, because they were a bit stickler when they didn't want people recording stuff at the main event. So it's like, okay, I'll just record a small bit and then cut it off there. But I will probably give my thoughts and things, and then, you know, when I eventually get that VIP photo coming around, I'll get that as well. But I'm going to upload that in due time and probably get it together. So it'll be kind of interesting thing, and leading some other stuff I want to do with music and stuff here, but we'll get to it. But with that regards now, I'm going to get an episode there for now. So if you want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe. I still don't do stuff every single week. I'm aiming for 750 to 1,000 subs, so any support would be greatly appreciated in that regards. Let me know your thoughts on everything discussed this week, from the new releases, the trailers, and all the news stories and stuff, and let me know your thoughts on all that stuff down below. Or if you've seen any of this stuff, let me know your thoughts on things. If you want to save 10% on some delicious beverage, like, you know, like pure crack here, you can 10% with my code Sam Harrison. That's all one word, all caps. You can find a link in the description down below and get yourself a tasty beverage into the spring months and into the summer in a few weeks, and just all that good stuff, you know, great things there. With that regards now, I'm going to end it there for now. So as always, you will stay wonderful people. Have a great day every day, doing many great things and keeping you, because no one else can do what you do, and take care of yourself, because mental health is very important. Now, I've been your host Sam, of course. Now I'll see you all in the next episode. Take care, and see you later.